Right here from Daily Galaxy. Zuckerberg declares the end of mobile phones and confirms the tech that's replacing them. Interesting. Now, even though these phones are, I would say, are efficient, and that the technology is a needed technology in the time we're living in as far as communicating with those we care about, it seems, Elder Lawya, that these phones has done more harm than good.
Right.
Right? Now, we can only ascertain or think that what's ever coming next is worse. Right? Now, one thing about the phones is that it is a necessity to some degree when it comes to its efficiency and all it offers, right? So many things in one particular device.
Right.
I mean, if James Bond had this back in the 60s, this telephone by itself would be worth probably $10-15 million with what it offers. Right? They had a big machine, this big first computer that took up a whole building, that couldn't hold the memory, store the memory that we have currently in the palm of our hands. They'll show you how sophisticated they've gotten with this technology. Many cameras, to have a small little camera that you can place anywhere, that you can actually, really, I'm talking about the generation of some of these phones. I've known producers who have did a whole movie off of using an iPhone. So, and then you want to talk about GPS, to be able to go any place in the earth as a GPS device connected to satellites, right? It's so many things. One day I was at a traffic stop, and you know how you go. Well, I went for my registration, and of course I did that. You have to ask for permission. I'm a black man. My hands is on the steering wheel. Okay, I asked, can I get my registration?
Right.
And the registration was okay, but you know how sometimes you forget to switch out the insurance card.
Right.
And I'm like, officer, my insurance card, it looks like it expired. He says, it expired. He says, okay, is it up to date? What's going on here? I'm like, you mind if I check my phone? Went to my phone's email, and guess what? The insurance card that was updated was there, and I was able to pass him my phone, and he seen my insurance card, and he says, okay. I'm like, well, by the way, officer, was anything wrong? He says, no, it was just a routine stop. He said, thank you. Respectfully, there's nothing wrong here. Have a good evening, sir. He said it was a routine stop. I was polite, but it's deep that I was able to go to my phone and get the document I wanted, and the police accepted it. He looked at it, he ran everything, he came back and says, have a good evening, sir. I'm like, have a good evening, sir. So it's everything with this phone. So I'm wondering, now these are the positive things I'm mentioning, right? In an emergency, if your loved one needs you, boom, bang, bang. Instant access. These are the positive things. But there's some negative things, right? Some of the negative things, number one, is the fact that now, I would say, it's an open door to all types of negativity, right? When we grew up, it was simple. You get with the people around you and it's all fine because you don't know anybody else. But now the whole world is accessible and the majority of people just can't settle and make rational choices, believing there's always a better option someplace when it comes to the dating market. It have utterly destroyed relationships as we know them. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I need to know, what is it that Zuckerberg is stating that will replace the cell phone? Let me read this. For nearly 3 decades, smartphones have ruled our lives. Until now. It ain't ruled my life, I tell you that. I'll sit there and look at that sucker. It can ring, that thing be shaking, it vibrate, it can shake, it'll fall off the dresser.
Right.
and you know, then people get attitude. I know you see me calling you. I'm like, listen, this is my life. I don't know what's going on with this world where people think they own your life and can come in any moment, not understanding, not respecting that other things might be happening.
Right. Exactly.
If no one is answering the phone, then I'm not accessible, even if I see who's calling. I mean, it's like everyone feel like they own other people. Are you ignoring me? No, I'm not ignoring you. Okay? If I answered the phone, Elder Lawya, every time the phone rang, don't you know that I wouldn't have 1 minute of sleep? I wouldn't have 1 minute of sleep. And I'm talking about the phone be waking me up 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And guess what? I don't wake up with an attitude. I don't wake up, you know, but if somebody ring me that time, I have to pick up because it might be life or death. So I pick up, hey, hello. Right. Hey, how you doing, Elder? Like, I'm asleep, sir. You know, I'm never going to get angry at a person, but usually I answer the phone if it's that time because usually it's life or death. Something has happened. But let me tell you, that's the downside of the phone. Right. Is that you're always accessible. People know that they know you see their call. And now that's another reason for people to get offended and or angry at you. And I'm like, you know what? Sooner or later, man, I can't wait till we have to revert back to real life.
Done.
And it's coming. Because what Zuckerberg is talking about, people have a choice to make. For nearly 3 decades, smartphones have ruled our lives until now. If Mark Zuckerberg is right, their reign is coming to an end. In less than a decade, he predicts that smart glasses will take over as our main connection to the digital world, making smartphones a thing of the past. It might sound impossible, but the race have already begun. Meta, Apple, and other tech giants are pouring billions into augmented reality and artificial intelligence. To make this future a reality, the question is, are we ready to ditch our phones forever? Right? Are smartphones on their way out? We check them hundreds of times a day. They control our schedules, social lives, and even how we shop. But smartphones are becoming more of a burden than a convenience. Endless notifications, screen fatigue, the constant need to be plugged in. People are getting tired of starting a handheld screen all day. Tech insiders believe that the next big innovation isn't upgrading your smartphones. It's replacing them entirely. Zuckerberg envisions a world where you never have to pull a device out of your pocket again. Instead, all of your digital interactions, text, calls, navigation, entertainment, will be seamlessly displayed in front of your eyes using smart glasses. Okay? And guess what? Even though the next generations have already been really, you know, accustomed to dealing with those glasses and all that, I'm fading out of it. There's no way. But this next generation and the way they're going to market it, it's going to be the thing to do.
Mm.
And I would say that, you know, they're going to probably have x-rays and all that where you can see women and all that and how they look. But with what women are wearing now, guess what? You can just scrap that if that was on the table. You don't need x-ray glasses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That probably would have been a caveat years ago when I was coming up, you know, but right now there's no need to do the x-ray thing. Okay, women are running around butt naked right now, right?
Right.
And wondering, where are all the men? The men are running. That's what they're doing.
Mm.
Any men with common sense. Men are looking for women with their clothes on. Now, that's deep how things have switched up, right? I mean, Lawya, they have saturated the world with so much of the promiscuous look of no clothing that it doesn't leave anything to the imagination anymore. A man can't sit back and say, okay, and have any mystery when it comes to, you know, engaging a person, a woman.
Right.
It's like,
right.
and women don't understand what that does to men, right? If there's no mystery and you're saturated with your clothes and your butt and all that, it doesn't have the same appeal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If they seen one, they seen them all.
Mm-hmm.
Now the women that aren't showing themselves like that with clothes on have swung the pendulum. Now the man is like, well, hold up now. This is something different over here. So
Yep.
Right? But anyway, Zuckerberg's vision isn't just speculation. It's already taken place. Meta Orion project revealed at the Meta Connect 2024 event is described as the most advanced smart glasses ever built. These futuristic glasses feature holographic displays that project virtual images that project virtual images into the real world, making it possible to text, call, or navigate without reaching for a phone. I wonder if is this connected to the brain chips eventually, and the chips in the hand.
Mm.
Unlike previous AR experience, Orion isn't just a gadget. It's designed to completely replace the smartphone with eye tracking voice commands and hand gestures. Users can interact with digital content effortlessly. Sort of like Minority Report, Elder, where they were just moving stuff around.
Right.
But
Swipe.
It was swiping, but it's with your hands, but with your glasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it through your eyes. But people will see you moving like this, but you're really moving things and all that, right? Connected to your biometrics and all that because of your hands and all that. So when you start moving, you're just swiping. You'll be able to see YouTube just like that and swipe, right? And then
right.
a keyboard will come up. You can just type, right? That's what they're working on.
Mm.
Right? Meta isn't stopping with Orion. The company has also partnered with Ray-Ban to bring smart glasses to the masses. The Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses combine Ray-Ban's signature design with Meta's AI-driven technology, packing cameras, speakers, and voice control into a stylish frame. While not as advanced as Orion, these glasses represent a crucial step toward making AR wearable mainstream. Okay, that's where they're going. And of course, this will be, and it says, check this out, but this is never going to happen for us. Plus, history shows that old tech doesn't vanish overnight. Landlines survived for decades after mobile phones took over. Some people will still prefer desktops to laptops. The smartphone might not disappear completely, but it could fade into the background as glasses take center stage. Now, folks, what are they truly planning? Right? What is the real deal? Okay? Because, believe it or not, brothers and sisters, this is a gradual drip drop. Just gradual baby steps towards their end game. They want you to look at the sunglasses and all that. That's not what we need to be focused on. Right? It's a beta switch. What should we be focusing on? Some might ask. Well, Aaron Russo, the movie producer, he did a Philadelphia production here decades ago. Dan Aykroyd, and Eddie Murphy. And Elder Lawya, tell me if this isn't prophetic or apropos. Aaron Russo, a man who understood history when you look into him, bank history and all these others, but he came up from the grassroots and they wanted to move him into the higher circles. His groundbreaking production, Aaron Russo, was Trading Places, where these two elite white eldermen make a $1 bet that they can take a poor guy hustler off of the streets of Philadelphia and train him to be beyond the mind and intellect of an Ivy League white man with a silver spoon in his mouth. What did Aaron Russo know? What did he understand? Let me tell you, that was a deep movie. If you really go into the mind that went behind that particular production. Trading Places. And see what people are looking at it one way, that, okay, a black man who had nothing, savvy, intelligent, if you give him the right resources, he can do as good as anyone else, right? That would be the underlying narrative that most would take from it, right? If you give us the same opportunity, it's over. But I'm going to tell you what people really didn't understand from that movie, brother, Elder, is that they traded places with us, where they are in power. They're here in power because they traded places with us. See?
Right.
So it wasn't hard for, once Eddie Murphy had the opportunity in the movie, or when we have it in real life, it's not too tough for us to transition and use our natural innate spirit to make things happen. Because it was always in us to do so. We did it before they did it. And that's not boasting. That's true history. And this leans more so towards where I'm going into with the testimony the Gentiles have. They're starting to understand what they thought, but really couldn't truly connect the dots concerning who are these people. People always understood that there was something special about us. Oh, it's in the music. You all got soul. You this, you that. I mean, your slang. How you're able to adapt even in menial conditions. from the outside looking in, a lot of us, even being poor, look like superheroes to some of these people because they know they couldn't have went through this.
Right.
They know they couldn't have, most nations couldn't have went through what we've gone through, but still, what? Be cool with everyone. I need y'all to think about that. Most people would have been, running around with an attitude, axe to grind. Not to say some of us don't, but not the majority of us. We just want to live our lives and be left alone. Right? But Aaron Russo knew something. Hit that like button, folks. We're going to have a good broadcast this evening. Check out what Aaron Russo was told. Fair use. For educational purposes only. Huh?
This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the infamous Rockefeller banking and business dynasty. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas Rockefeller, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned about the Rockefellers and their ambitions.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I said, sure, I'd love to. And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished. Chavez they didn't accomplish. And said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he was laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because so it's an eternal war, and so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just the...
So here it is. They're at a cocktail place, as he claimed. They're eating amongst the elite, their little social clubs, and the Rockefeller bankers say, we're going to make people believe that some people in caves and did this thing, and through this pretext, we're going to go to war and take down all these places in the Middle East. And back then, even Aaron Russo, who was on the outside of their social network at that time, he got in strictly through talent and movie production in Hollywood, but he was still on the outside of the elite circle. He's like, how are you going to, American people, they might be naive, but they aren't that dumb. How are you going to convince American people to go along with this? He said, the Rockefeller told him, the media. We're going to use the media to convince them that all of this is real. The media will convince it. Listen, the media can convince everybody that it's real. Folks, if the media didn't tell us about the virus and all of these things, would we have reacted the same? Would we have known that it was anything out there at all? I need y'all to think about that, folks. That's why I don't trust anything they say. Because I know they work, their model is the Hegelian dialectic. That's their model. It's an old model. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Look it up. What is that? We're not taught this in school. Usually you have to be in college under philosophy where they give you this insight. Hegelian dialectic. You can get the people to do whatever you would like them to do. But this is how you must create the problem. Wait for the reaction. Now, they have no control over the reaction. But they must create the problem. So already you can't trust that model. Now, sometimes they luck up where some event happens that's disastrous, where they didn't have to create it. And now they go, oh yeah, this happened. Now we can push this policy through with this solution. Sometimes that happens, but when these events doesn't happen like that organically fast enough, they're engineered. The Hegelian dialectic is what? We create the problem. We wait for the people to react. And once there's enough ground swelling of fear amongst the population, the politicians come with a solution. See? So now it looks as if the politicians are acting on behalf of the people. See? Man, when it happened, we made sure that there was enough vaccines rolled out, and to make you believe that the politicians are reacting based on the fear of the people. Right? That's just one example of many. That's why I don't trust anything they say. Because I understand the model. Look it up. Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. And guess what? Usually, the solution came before everything else. What they wanted to do, the last thing that happens in it all was their plan all along. It's like they started with what they wanted, the solution, and said, how can we get people to volunteer for this? Because normally, people is not just going to go down to their hospital go and get something, and then like, nah. So how can we get people to come get this? Oh, here's the problem. We'll use the media to stir up problems. They'll sit there and speak all urgent as if there's a serious issue and all these others. And then there's canned stories. There'll be canned stories to make people believe that some of these stories actually happened through the media. Fear, fear, fear. And then people, through their fear, start getting other people afraid. See? Now the media can just wait. Or just press on when they start receiving phone calls, right, from the worry they are exhibiting in their communities. And now they can say, okay, it's time for step 2. There's enough scary people or afraid people to now the politicians can come and say, hold up now, we got a budget for the solution.
That you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say.
So then he asked, what are you doing this for? He's hanging out with the guy. Says, you're a multi-millionaire. You have a good life, a good family. So that's a logical question. If you already have everything and no one is bothering you, why are you going to make life miserable for everyone else? What are you doing this for? So he wants to know the end game. Why? Being a movie producer, there's a beginning, there's a plot, and there's an ending. Right? So logically thinking, there must be an end game here. Would you mess with people and start wars and disrupt other countries and other governments? So the logical question would be, Mr. Rockefeller, your life is good. Why don't you just enjoy your life, right? What are you doing this for? Listen to this.
What do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your...
And listen what he answered Rockefeller answered Aaron Russo, why do you care about other people for? Take care of your family. We're not talking about getting rid of you. You're useful.
Your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the truth.
The ultimate goal is to get everyone in elite Rockefeller, privately, according to Aaron Russo, told him, well, the end game is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID chip. Well, that would make sense. You would need to destabilize the whole world to put the mark of the beast infrastructure in places who currently doesn't have what? The infrastructure to accept the new technology. An enemy country or an opposing country would do what? They would reject your legislation that would lead to this normally. Right? Not if you topple their government and now you have, through your war machine, you have the finances to build that country back on the grid towards the mark of the beast. See, they're not going to build it according to what was old. They're going to build it according to where the new world is going. Y'all see this? So in a boardroom, they looked at all the countries that was resisting, wasn't on board. Computers were all different. Nothing was communicating the way it need on a world scale. And they say, listen, we got to destabilize a lot of these places and build it back where they're all on the same grid. How can we do this? Oh, I'll tell you what. Weapons of mass destruction. That'll work. Let them know that Saddam got some weapons somewhere. Okay. I'm not even going to go into September 9/11 and the planes and all that. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay. But at the end of the day, the Rockefeller, as he said, told him allegedly, the goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID chip. And that's what Zuckerberg isn't telling people. He'd rather tell you about the eyeglasses because it's really a transition. If you're willing to transition from your phone to eyeglasses, right? Something that's getting closer and closer from your hand to your head. See? From your hand to your head, getting closer and closer. Eventually, you'll accept it in you. The goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID
chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off the chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called war on terrorism, passed the REAL ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes...
Remember this? They're actually rolling these out in the DMVs now. I just do my passport. I will never get this.
On it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a VeriChip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, They can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all. These totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality. A process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary, separatist identification and thus conceit has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to being completely enslaved. The men behind the curtain know this, and they also know that if people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature and the truth of their personal power, the entire manufactured zeitgeist they prey upon will collapse like a house of cards.
Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.